There's no two ways about it. Clare losing Peter Duggan for the 2020 season is a bit of a disaster. They're already kind of probably lacking in leaders, and he's one of the guys who really stood up in the 2018 season. He was a top scorer in the championship, ended up winning an All-Star, free taker. I remember particularly the game against Tipperary, and Thurles led the team with a couple of unbelievable scores from the sideline. And I do mean a leader, because throughout the 2019 championship they did seem a little bit rudderless, and who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. I mean, I've spoken many times about the talent in the team, that there are some brilliant players, there are some average players, but I just don't think that enough players step up. So the decision from Peter Duggan is, like, he's completed a business and sports masters in LIT, and he wants to set up landscape and business when he comes back from Australia and still be at a good age to hurl on at that point. So he's 26 at the moment, he'll be 27 obviously when he comes back there or thereabouts. So it kind of makes sense. You just wonder, is this going to end up being one of those situations like Johnny Glynn or Joseph Cooney, where they're living away from the country and they're brought back? Of course, Shane O'Donnell's an obvious example too, but that one's slightly different because he was able to come home from the entire summer from Harvard. So just looking at, just back to the leadership again, Duggan, even through this championship where Clare, they beat Waterford, who were a bit of a beaten docket this year, and then they beat Cork in the last game when you know they were out. So he scored a point from play against Waterford, like 40 points overall, but a point from play against Waterford, point from play against Tip when they were hammered, 3 points from play against Limerick, and 3 points from play against Cork. So that's a guy who generally is stepping up. I mean, he'd probably like a little bit more from play, but it also denies Clare an option of a long ball, or one further option of a long ball, because in the past, how often have we seen just a team of so many players that are between 5'6" and 5'9", and then a couple of big guys? So just even losing his sheer size is a massive loss, I would say. Who's going to take the frees from now on? Is it going to be back to Tony Kelly? That seems the most likely option. Will Conor McGrath come back in? I saw him playing midfield for, he started midfield for Cratloe anyway the last day against Clonlara. David Reedy, he was an occasional free taker in the past. The last time in the championship was in 2017. He took a break from the panel last year to focus on a master's degree at LIT and also soccer commitments at Newmarket Celtic. So it all just makes you wonder, where can Clare go, like in 2020? Can they get out of Munster? I mean, if what they had this year didn't work and you're now taking one of the leaders out of the team, out of the forward line, that's not a great sign. We don't know if Donal Maloney's going to stay on. That hasn't been ratified. You know, Jerry O'Connor has left. 8 of the 2013 starting team are no longer on the panel, and only one of the 4 subs used that day is still on the panel. Peter Duggan was an unused sub back then. He's gone. From the All-Ireland Under-21 3-in-a-row team, it's not like there's anyone else to come through. This is supposed to be Clare's time right now, and maybe it's passing, and maybe it has already passed. And I know Clare fans, supporters, many times have gotten a little bit thick with me over that, but I suppose it kind of is what it is too. There hasn't been success following. Just really can't afford to be down a player of Peter Duggan's quality. If you think of the 4 games in quick succession in Munster, you could easily pick up injuries. So to not have him, that is a huge loss. Like one of the few All-Stars that's, well, obviously there's All-Stars from 2013 and maybe 1 or 2 from 2018, but to lose some of his quality, that is a massive blow.